All right, hey YouTube, it is April 4th, 2017, exactly 1 month after Trump made the wiretapping accusations. And of course, right after that, the media called him a huge liar and that there's no way Obama could ever have this happen. And of course, as the weeks went forward, more information came out, pretty much vindicating Donald Trump of these accusations. Specifically, Nunes came out and said that although that the surveillance of U.S. citizens is legal, unmasking and leaking the names of the citizens is not a legal thing to do. And there was no mention of Susan Rice at the time that Nunes came out with this information. But on March 22nd, she made an appearance on PBS and she said, and I quote, "I know nothing about this," when asked about the unmasking. "I was surprised to see reports from Chairman Nunes on that count today. I really don't know to what Chairman Nunes was referring. But he said that whenever he was referring to was a legal, lawful surveillance, and that it was potentially incidental collection on American citizens." And just a few days later, Cernovich, who is referred to as fake news by the mainstream media, and recently on his 60 Minutes piece, it was a bit of a hit piece on him. They referred to him as fake news, but actually it was him who first released a story about Susan Rice being the unmasker and totally beating the mainstream media to the story, which kind of shows the level of projection that the mainstream media has whenever they refer to other people who report things not in the same narrative as fake news. So now here we are today, April 4th, and Susan Rice is interviewed by MSNBC, where she says that sometimes unmasking is necessary. So, which is it? First, she said on March 22nd in the PBS interview that she had no idea what Chairman Nunes was referring to. And now she obviously does, and she says sometimes unmasking is necessary. So this is a totally obvious flip-flop, and we're kind of left with the big question, well, did she do anything wrong? Right, so here's Napolitano, who knows a thing or two about law, saying that this could be considered espionage depending on, if, depending on the details of what she knew and what she did and her actions here. So on top of that, we've got Andrew C. McCarthy, who is a senior policy fellow at the National Review Institute, who says this: "Understand, there would have been no intelligence need for Susan Rice to ask for identities to be unmasked. If there had been a real need to reveal the identities, an intelligence need based on American interests, the unmasking would have been done by the investigating agencies. The National Security Advisor is not an investigator. She is a White House staffer. The president's staff is a consumer of intelligence, not a generator or collector of it. If Susan Rice was unmasking Americans, it was not to fulfill an intelligence need based on American interests. It was to fulfill a political desire based on Democratic Party interests." So, from what I've seen, it's not looking too good for where she's sitting, but this wouldn't be the first time that absolutely corrupt people on the Democrats have gotten away with things. So I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up getting away with this. But there is some good news. The House Intelligence Committee has now called on her to testify before Congress. Funny enough, when she was asked about this, she pretty much just froze and then totally did the classic bait and switch routine. Okay, let's take a look here.
Rand Paul is suggesting that you be subpoenaed to testify. Would you be willing to go to Capitol Hill?
You know, Andrea, let's see what comes. I'm not going to, sit here and prejudge. But what I will say is that the investigations that are underway as to the Russian involvement in our electoral process are very important. They're very serious.
Russia, boogeyman,
and
Russia. So what do you think? Anything actually going to come out of this? Either way, it's going to be bad for the Dems, because if nothing happens, then people that are currently on the fence with the Democrats and didn't take well to all the scandals, corruptions, and abuses of power will see this yet again as another abuse of power and probably jumps ship. And if things do happen and the orange jumpsuits do come out, well, then obviously people will jump ship too, because chances are the number of jumpsuits just won't be one and heads will roll. That's what I'm hoping for. Anyways, take care. Bye for now.